Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Jake Morgan, personal trainer here in Dallas, Texas. This here is my complimentary 28-day training program. Now, I designed this program to help you lose body fat, increase muscle mass, and improve your strength. Now, the premise behind this program is to help keep you from doing what I call program hopping. Now, program hopping is when you go from program A to program B and you flip-flop back and forth. Now, here's the problem with that. Let's say you do program A, which is a 12-week training program that you found online or in a magazine, and you do it. And after you've done it, you're like, well, I've got some pretty good results. What are my options? So you're thinking, well, I could either, one, I could do it again, but the law of diminishing returns says that if you do it again, that second 12-week training phase isn't gonna give you the same results that you got on the first training phase. So then you're like, well, I guess I have to find a new training program. So you go on the hunt again and you're going looking for another training program. Maybe you ask a gym partner what they're doing. So then you find another program and you do that one. But if you think back the months and years that you've been doing that, have you really achieved the goals that you've been set out to achieve? Most of the time, you're gonna answer no. And the missing link here is what they call periodization. Periodization is when the programs that you do from a month-to-month basis all complement each other from a yearly perspective. So what you do program 1, 2, and 3, month 1, 2, and 3 will complement what you do on, say, months 7, 8, and 9, or even 10, 11, and 12. And my program has already been laid out for you. So the whole year is periodized. What you're doing is complementing each other so that as you go through the full year, you're still heading towards your goal. You're not gonna plateau because all these different training parameters are being manipulated so that you don't hit a plateau. And along the way, you're gonna learn a whole new training world. Now, in this first complementary training program, you're gonna learn about 5 major things. Number 1, tempo. Number 2, rest intervals. Number 3, drop sets. Number 4, descending sets. And number 5, download week. Now, some of those you may have heard before, but either way, I'm gonna go over them in depth and really help you learn about the importance of incorporating these parameters into your program. Now, in future programs, we're gonna be manipulating other factors. So, without further ado, let's print the PDF that you got. I want you to have those in front of you. Now, later in the video, we're gonna go over all the exercises so you know exactly how to execute them. I'm gonna tell you how to do them and what to avoid. Much like if I was there training you as a personal trainer, you'd know what to do and what not to do. So let's get the papers out and move on to the videos. Okay guys, get out the sheet that says chest and back at the top left corner. All right, I'm gonna go over the structure of how this thing is written out. If you notice, each exercise has a letter next to it. Let's look at A1 and A2. Those 2 exercises are gonna be alternated back and forth. So what we're gonna do is perform exercise A1, rest the amount of time that it says, perform exercise A2, rest the amount of time that it says, and then continue through those until we've completed the number of sets that we need to. So when we look at the numbers, week 1, it says 5 by 8. That's 5 sets of 8. We're gonna use a tempo of 3010, and we're gonna rest 90 seconds. Then you're gonna go to A2. If you notice on the sets and reps, each week, the reps descend. So week 1, you're doing 5 sets of 8. Week 2, you're doing 5 sets of 7, then 5 sets of 6, and the last week is what they call the download week, which is just 3 sets of 5. Now the download week, the purpose of that is to give the nervous system a little bit of a break so that the next training program that you start, you're gonna be nice and fresh. Also on that download week, you should be able to go up in weight because you're doing less total volume during that training week. So since you don't have to do as much reps and sets, you should be able to nudge the weight up just a little bit. Okay, if you look at B1 and B2, this is what they call a superset. So there's no rest when you go from B1 to B2. So here's how it breaks down. You're gonna do B1 for 8 reps, rest 10 seconds. Then you're gonna go to B2, do 8 reps, rest 2 minutes, and then come back. So you're gonna do them 1, 2, and then break. 1, 2, and then break. 3 sets of 8 total. Okay, now I'm on the leg day. I wanna show you what a straight set is. If you look at letter A, there's no number by it, it's just A, and there's no A2. So that means you're doing letter A all by itself. So we're gonna do deadlifts all by itself. In this example, it's gonna be 5 sets of 8, and we're gonna rest 2 minutes between each set. So what you do, you'll do 8 reps on the deadlift, rest 2 minutes. And you can do 5 sets total. And just like the other chest and back day, the reps are going to descend from week to week. Warm-up sets. Okay, it's very important to warm up the body for what you're about to do. So what I suggest you do is warm up with the first exercise that you're going to be doing. So if you're on chest and back day, you're going to warm up with both A1 and A2. But if it's, say, leg day, you're just going to warm up on the deadlift. There's no need to warm up on B1. Here's how I would break it down. Chest and back day, A1 calls for 8 reps for your first set. So I would select a weight that's about 60 to 70% of what you expect to do, but only do 6 reps. Do those reps with the same tempo that it calls for, and then take a short break, go over to A2. Then you're going to perform that exercise for the same amount. Choose a weight that's rather conservative and do about 6 reps with it. I would go through 2 warm-up sets of each at least, up to 3. Any more than that I don't think would be necessary for this particular program. Each time you do another warm-up set, you're going to step up the weight slightly, but also you're going to reduce the reps a little bit too. So here's how it would break down. 6 reps with about 65% of the weight you expect to do, then you go over to A2, same exact thing. Warm-up set 2, you're going to do a little bit more weight, so maybe 80% what you expect to do, but only do 4 reps. Same thing on A2. Now if you need another warm-up set, then I suggest doing just 2 reps with yet a little bit more weight than you did previously on A1, and then again 2 reps on A2. That's how I suggest warming up. Anything more than that would probably be unnecessary. All you're looking to do is turn on the nervous system for what you're about to have it do. Choosing a weight. Okay, the reps always dictate the load. It's very important to choose a weight that is challenging for the reps that are called for. So let's say it calls for 7 reps. You don't want to choose a weight that you could actually have gotten 9 or 10 reps with. You want to maybe be able to get 8 reps on that first set, for example, but you shouldn't have been able to get 11 or 12. That's way too light. Same goes for the other end of the spectrum. You don't want to choose a weight that's too heavy so that you can't get the 7 reps. So let's say you're doing deadlifts and it calls for week 2, 5 sets of 7. And you put on there 225, but you really could have lifted 225 for 11 reps. Well, then that was too light. So that means you probably should have started in this example with maybe 245 or 255. So that's how you want to select the weights. Going up in weight. Here is an example of A1 on chest and back day. On the dumbbell press, here's what you could go up in weight. If you notice on week 1, we've got 5 sets of 8, 3010 tempo, rest in 90 seconds. Okay, so set number 1. You've got 50 pounds and you're able to do 8 reps. And you're gonna progress through. You go up to 52.5 and you get up to 57. And you only get 7 reps on the last set. And that's okay. It's the last set. You tried to go up, challenge yourself on that last one, but you failed by 1 rep. That isn't a problem. But let's say you got 7 reps on set 2, then you're getting a little bit too aggressive with your weight selection and you're gonna need to back it off a little bit, okay? Also, as you're doing these sets, mentally you got to think, okay, I need to be feeling pretty fatigued by rep 8. But in your head, if you're thinking you could get 10, 11, or 12, then that's a bad choice in weight, okay? So here, if that was your week 1 weights, this would be week 2. So you're doing 1 less rep. So if you're doing less reps, that means the weight is going to be more. So we're starting with 55 pounds on week number 2 because you were able to get 7 in the previous week. So you do 7 reps with 55 for your first 3 sets. Then the last 2, you're feeling like going up in weight, which is a great decision. And you're still able to get 7 for 57.5. And then you do 57.5 again, but you're only able to get 6. Again, failure at this part of the workout is perfectly fine. Week number 3, you're down to 6 reps, okay? So we're gonna be able to do more weight than we did last week because we're doing 1 last rep. Here we're starting with 57.5 pounds for 6 reps. You quickly go up to 60 and you finish through 60 for all 4 sets. And the last one, you go up again and your nervous system responded really well to that training and you're able to get 6 reps with 62.5, all right? And this is a realistic example of progression. If you're a little bit stronger, a little bit weaker, obviously adjust the numbers to reflect that. The last one is the download week. And as I mentioned before, this is a great way for you to increase your strength by using a little bit more weight because you have to do less sets. These last 2 sets are off the board, so you don't need to work as hard for as long. So what you're going to do is start with a pretty challenging weight based on the numbers you did before. Let's start with 65 pounds. You only need to do 5 reps. You knock that out pretty good. Set 2, 67.5, 5 reps. You only got 1 more set to go, so why the hell not? Let's jump up to 70 pounds and see how many we could get. Most of the time on this last training week, your download week, you're going to see some great numbers. Your goal is to be able to do the weight you did in previous week 3, but a little bit more, because like I said, you're not doing those last 2 weeks, so you should be able to do more weight. So hopefully that clarifies how to go up in weight. We want to see progression as you go from week to week. You don't need to necessarily go up from set to set, but from, let's say, week 3 to week 1, we definitely need to see some changes in weights. Rest intervals. Rest intervals are very important. Okay, this is a parameter that most of you haven't tracked before in the past. Now, in other programs, rest intervals are going to be longer, but in this program, we're keeping them right at 2 minutes, or on supersets, they're going to be very short. Okay. Now, here's an example. If you had person A that rested, say, 5 minutes, and you had person B that rested only 30 seconds, then obviously the first person that rested 5 minutes is going to be able to do more weight. So what we need to do is week to week, make sure that our rest intervals are exactly where they should be so that you can attribute any success to actually getting stronger and not to extending rest intervals and recovering longer. So pay attention to the rest intervals and keep track of them. Okay, if you notice on your workouts, there's some drop sets on there. If you're looking at chest and back day, if you look at D1 and D2, those exercises have drop sets. So the way you read that, it says 3 times 10/8/6. What you're going to do is choose a weight you can get 10 reps with. Then you're going to drop the weight, do 8 reps. Then you're going to drop the weight, do 6 reps. That is 1 set. Then in this example, you're going to rest 60 seconds and then go to D2 and do the exact same thing. So the slashes mean drop set. Other days, it'll be a 12, 10, 8 drop set. Just know that you're going to do 10 reps or whatever the numbers call for. That's how you drop down, and the weight is going to drop slightly. You want to choose weights on each of those that you can still reach the reps that it calls for. The importance of tempo. Okay, every exercise in your program has a tempo attached to it. Now, it's very important to perform the reps to that specific tempo. All right. Now, here in this example, we've got 5 sets of 8 at a tempo of 3-0-1-0. That means each rep takes 4 seconds to execute. Here in the bench press example, it's going to be down in 3, up in 1. So if each rep takes 4 seconds and we're going to do 8 reps at a time, the calculated time under tension per set is about 32 seconds. So what I want you to do is time your sets in the beginning. Try to see how close you're getting to 32 seconds of time under tension for this particular example. Other exercises will have different, but here I want you to see, because you'll be pretty surprised at how quick you're actually executing those reps and how slow you should be executing those reps. So that being said, I just want you to be aware of it. It's a training parameter that most people do not focus on or have not been exposed to. So this is something that you can tap into and really find much greater results because you haven't been training like this. So pay attention to it, stick to it, and you will definitely reap the rewards by being strict on your time under tension.